Hello and welcome back once again to the HR Social Hour Half Hour Podcast. This is episode 189. Jon and Wendy, welcome back, John Baldino. I'm your host, John.
And I'm Wendy. How are you, John?
Wendy, I am well. We are very excited. We're always excited to have John with us, but we're even more excited when John was kind enough to sponsor this month of the Social Hour with Humareso.
Yay!
So we are very excited to have him and his team back on board. Yeah. We're going to be talking more about that in this episode and talking throughout the month about all the great things they have going on. We wanted to let people know, though, too, Wendy, it's hard to believe it's been a little over a year since we did our last pledge drive.
It has been. It has been. I'm excited because it's really your opportunity as our listeners, as people part of our community, to share your favorite episodes. We're not asking for money. We're not doing the traditional PBS, pledge drive. Don't send us your money. You can send us stickers. We like those. This is your opportunity. Share your favorite episode. Hashtag it. Do we have our hashtag, John? I don't have it in front of me.
We're going to once again use listen to HRSH.
Yeah, so tag it.
Like Wendy said, this is not a PBS pledge drive. We're not asking for funds. No. We're not sending out Les Mis gift bags or anything like that. We will have something along the way. Or one of those great things. They used to always have those amazing giveaways. Of course, it'd be the Andrew Lloyd Webber thing or the Lawrence Welk stuff, which, by the way, Lawrence Welk, my parents still watch Lawrence Welk on PBS every Saturday night. Well, I did too. And
Bobby and Sissy.
But we're not giving out Bobby and Sissy T-shirts either. So,
I'll sing the goodbye song on your voicemail. There's our prize.
Oh, okay, folks, she's put it out there. That's one of maybe several things that we'll have for people to do. But throughout the month of October, it is. And Wendy, isn't it hard to believe it's October? It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
I'm still having a hard time believing it's 2021. Much less already October.
Not much left in 2021. No. However, we did want to do another pledge drive. We felt like this was a great month to do that. Again, hashtag listen to HRSH. Share your favorite shows. Share this episode. Share every episode as it comes out each week using that tag. And we will be sending out something. Last year it was the bottle openers.
No.
Most people got them. We had kind of some issues with that, but we always like having new things to send out. And again, all you got to do is tag, and that gets you something.
It's easy,
but not a Les Mis bag and not anything Lawrence Welk.
No, not Les Mis, but put my Girl Scouts to work.
We'll think of something.
We'll come up with something.
We're really excited to have John back with us. I don't think he needs much of an introduction, but let's see what you got, Wendy, and we'll go ahead and get started.
3 things I'm going to share about John. First, he sent us the longest bio ever, especially when we asked for a short bio. So he holds that title. That is not a challenge for any new guests. Please don't try to break that. 2, he is part of John Cubed from 2019, from our trip to Grand Forks for North Dakota SHRM conference. And he recently shared he is celebrating 30 years in HR, which is crazy. So we've got lots of years of experience on the show tonight, which is exciting and happy. And I'm so, so excited to be able to see John Baldino tonight. But John, we always have to ask, what's in your glass?
Hello, everyone. I am drinking ginger tea this evening. Yes, that is the sure sign that I have been in human resources for 30 years.
I don't know. It might be that ginger beer that Ohio SHRM sent me with the bottle of vodka to make some.
Nice.
For their
that would have been
yes. That's right. I forgot about that. Yes, that's awesome.
I'm going to slightly step up from the ginger tea.
John, it's amazing to think. So you last appeared on the show, it was episode 58, which was March of 2019. And typically this first episode of the quarter is Where Are They Now? And that's why you're here with us, is that it's all about where is John. So what have you been up to since then?
Not much. March of 2019 almost seems like a lifetime ago, right? There's been so much that's gone on the past couple of years, of course. And so I guess in the positive end of things, Humareso has grown quite a bit, continues to grow. I think our opportunities to help organizations, especially as how things have been the past couple of years, has been a good challenge. On a personal note, the third kid is in college. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And so the empty nest-ish stuff has kind of begun, and Kathy and I, are making plans and doing things, and it's really kind of fun to be at this stage of life.
Nice. I got a few more years.
I know. Don't be jealous. But I will tell you, I have to mention this because Wendy, you said this. My children all were forced to watch Lawrence Welk as well by me. and I sold it to my girls when they were very young by saying things like, look at the beautiful dresses that the girls are wearing, right? Okay. So that they would sit and look, because especially Olivia, my oldest daughter, she just loved everything that was kind of flowy. And, this was like chiffon, on steroids.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
So she would just see them spin, Bobby and Sissy and all these people, right, doing all. And she just would be mesmerized. And then when they got a little bit older and we're like, why are you making us watch this? That's when it all went downhill.
That's kind of how I got my girls to watch Carol Burnett with us.
Oh,
so we've done the Carol Burnett.
Yes,
and
yes.
There's a skit with Steve Martin when he does comedy for dogs, and I remember this because we recently watched it, and that's their favorite one because there's like 5 different large dogs essentially attacking Steve Martin. So it's awesome.
It's fantastic. Yes.
We've all completely dated ourselves, kids.
Yes.
If you were born after 1978, go ahead and Google Lawrence Welk and Carol Burnett. You will not be sorry.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
On that note, let's bring it back to the future here. The last 18 months or so have been really difficult for all of us. Talk about some of the specific challenges that Humareso faced with your client base.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, actually. I'll actually say first, Humareso faced its own challenges. As an organization, and just for context for everybody listening, Humareso is a national HR consulting firm. And so when you're doing human resources consulting for organizations that are furloughing or laying off people as a result, at the onset, particularly of the mandates of city and state and federal mandates, we were down in the first 60 days, easily 35% revenue-wise.
Wow.
And because we, one of the things that we just made a decision to do was to continue, of course, to support the organizations that we're supporting. But, some of them were closed or down to a handful of people. And so they couldn't pay. They weren't even open, to be collecting revenue on their end to then pass along and pay for services. And we just decided to keep going. We are a third-party administrator for a lot of our clients as well when it comes to unemployment. I don't need to tell you what the mail was like for us for those few months with all the unemployment coming in, and then unemployment deciding to turn off all their fax machines at the state level. So everything was by mail. Oh, yeah. Hi. Hello, New York. Hello, New York.
Oh.
It's mildly lighthearted trying to look back, but it was really difficult for organizations. And we had some of our hospitality-related organizations, hotel, restaurant, some retail that closed. They had to just close. And we have had some that never were able to reopen. And so, I say all that because I know that we are still on a road to recovery, but we really did our very best to be supportive to not just the businesses, but the individuals who obviously were impacted, who didn't know how they were going to make ends meet. And so we spent a lot of time talking to people, crying with people, being broken with people who just were scared. And I would say what I look at now is, I don't know that all of those feelings are gone for people, but I think that they've tried to figure out better how to cope with the uncertainty, because we're still in uncertainty, right? A lot of people are still not sure, right, about how things are going to progress. What do we do about vaccines? Do they work? Do they not work? How do I stay safe? I don't want to go back to the office. I need to go back to the office. I don't have a choice but to go back to a location because my profession can't be done remotely. You know, one of my good friends is a doctor, and he's like, John, I can do some things by Zoom, but I can't, perform some minor surgery by Zoom. I actually have to be with you. And so, it isn't just the people that need to like clean your apartment or make your pizza. It's all levels of blue and white collar industry that have to be thoughtful about what's done in person and what has the opportunity to be done, say, remotely. And so we're still trying to navigate those waters with our clients. And, daily, it's something, obviously, the most recent stuff just continues to add and compound the conversations.
John, you talked about some of the issues you had within the organization.
Yeah.
And you addressed those, and you've gone through some growth. I believe that, haven't you even added some staff that are previous guests of this podcast?
I have. One of my, I'm going to say this, that makes it sound like everybody else is Swiss cheese, so to speak. But, as the two of you know, that, one of my bromances for a very long time is Keith Enochs. And so Keith and I have been sweet on each other for years. And so for the right situation to finally come together and Keith join the team is just a dream for me. I mean, he's awesome. The ever talented, if you ask him, Kevin Hubbard has also joined the team as well. And I'll actually also mention, which will likely be a surprise because it's brand new, but especially by the time this broadcast, it's brand new. Sarah Morgan is joining the Humareso team as well.
Wow.
So yeah. So we are very excited.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it's been a really, in addition to the rocks that have been there for years. I mean, Victorio Milian has been with me for over 8 years, and he's obviously going through it with what he gets to support in New York City. And that's been quite a time. So it's really fun to have these folks, as well as a bunch of others that haven't yet been on the broadcast, who are doing all this great work. So yeah, been really fun. It's actually been really, really fun.
That's a murderer's row of talent there for sure, John.
It is, and there's me.
Hey, you're the figurehead at this point. You're Lawrence Welk with the baton. That's your job.
Wonderful.
With all these great things going on within the organization, also in the midst of a pandemic, you made a major move with your family to Florida.
I did.
So talk a little bit about that, and how has that changed operations for Humareso? Has it? And how's that all been? That's a pretty major event there.
Yes, right. And contextually, again, for those that don't know, so I'm from the Philadelphia area, South Jersey. And packed everybody up and headed to Florida on Memorial Day weekend. And that's a huge move. And I will tell you, it's twofold, right? So Kathy and I knew, my wife, Kathy and I knew that we wanted to head south at some point for a variety of reasons, but, not the least of which being great weather, better weather. And so as I mentioned, our third child, was selecting her colleges, right? Where she thought she was going to go and narrowing down the list. And she was looking south as well. And so I had Frankie in Virginia. Olivia was already in Florida at school. And Cassie wound up choosing a school in Florida on the other side of the state. And Kathy and I kind of looked at each other and we're like, well, what are we doing here? Everybody's going south. We should do the same. And I think I may have shared with both of you maybe before, or at least, in some sort of side conversation, my dream really was to even go further south. I was looking more at Costa Rica. And my wife said, if you pick Costa Rica, I'll not be joining you. And so I took that as a challenge for a couple of weeks, I will tell you. But then I thought better of it, right? So we went as far south as Florida. And as far as, the family is concerned, it's been a great move. I feel like I deliver the most easy, stress-free move ever. No problems with the movers. They were fantastic. Wow. The home sold quickly, multiple offers. The home we got, a great deal on in the midst of this really, housing boom going on, and just things seem to work out in that regard. But as far as the business is concerned, obviously that's a concern. And one of the things that I can say very clearly, in fact, in some of the people that we just mentioned, the business is not Baldino, which I love being able to say. The business is the full gamut of talent that's there. And so already pre-pandemic, we've had staff that live in other places. They're never coming into a corporate office. They're working out of their homes. And, Victorio, if Victorio's life depended upon it, he couldn't find the corporate office. I'm going to tell you that right now. And he's, when he listens to this, he will, laugh and then, say, I'm right. That's how we were already set up. And so the pandemic just sort of amplified the fact that we had great structures in place, great communication tools. And we just, I would say, took it to the next right step in that. And so me being in Florida, primarily hasn't done much to change how things operate. Obviously people don't see me in the office the way that they used to, but we're on Teams and all day long. And these people who work at Humareso are hilarious, and just have this awesome chat with one another all day long that we're all a part of. And in the midst of sharing good information and supporting each other, they're just so fun. So we haven't missed a beat.
I love it. John, recently, you've been able to attend a few in-person conferences to speak. So you went back to North Dakota, which is awesome.
I'm big in North Dakota.
They love you there. They love you there. So any surprises to how events are being managed, or have you noticed any real changes, and how have the attendees been to where you've gone in person?
Everywhere I've been, the attendance has been down from where it would have been pre-pandemic in terms of in-person. And I expected that, but it hasn't been terrible. It hasn't been, bottom numbers, so to speak. I think that people are still feeling that they can control their own safety decisions. And so certainly there are people who were, masked when they say didn't need to be by legislation or mandate. I was in Vegas at the SHRM National Conference, which, Vegas is mask mandate when you're inside, and everyone was still, wearing their masks. You did not see a lot of pushback there. HR Tech is vaccine mandated in Vegas plus masks. So, you can't go if you weren't vaccinated. And so I would say that, with all of those, again, on the national level, on the state and smaller level, people are still cautious. They are thoughtful. It isn't a free-for-all. I know that some people are worried that that's what it's become. It really has not. I have to say that everybody's been very respectful. The only area I would say that I see being tough is that social distancing piece. The seating and some of those things, of course, are set up in a way that you can be socially distant, but even just walking through the halls and going from place to place, it's tough to maintain that six feet, apart kind of thing. It's just practically more difficult to do that. But people have been hungry for connection in a physical way, and I don't mean that in a sort of bow chicka bow wow kind of way. I mean it more in a just want to be with each other and miss each other. And so people have been really thoughtful. There are people that I saw that I haven't seen obviously in a couple of years. And we wanted to hug, right? And for some, we're just like, look, we know we're mentally hugging. We know that we're here for one another, but we don't want to set that tone. And that's a respectful decision. It's funny. One of the at the SHRM National Conference, Patti LaBelle performed, and I just want to make sure I say this because Patti is from Philadelphia, and I got to give her props. She killed it. Holy cow! 8-inch platforms. Singing her butt off.
Damn.
This 77 years old killed it.
Wow.
And before she performed, she had some people came backstage, and she said they were clear on the other side of her. There were stanchions roped off. They could not get close to her. And she said, it was so difficult for me because this is her talking. I'm a hugger, she said. And every time I meet people backstage, I want to hug and love them for being there and being supportive of me. And I couldn't do it. And she said, and she apologized. She said, I know it's the pandemic, but I just want you to know that's not where my heart is. And people really resonated with that because I think everybody still kind of feels that way, right? We're being safe, but the love is still there.
It's great news to hear. I know Wendy, you just got back from a conference, and how was that?
Oh, South Dakota, yeah.
In South Dakota. So it was good. I just went down for the day because it was in Sioux Falls, so driving distance. Everyone who was in a mask works for the same company I do because we have mask mandates in our office. There weren't a lot of masks, not a lot of physical distancing, which I was a little disappointed in. But we also don't have a mask mandate in the state or in any of the cities at this time, which it was a little worrying, but we all take our risks. We take our, figure out our comfort levels. So I had my mask on when I could, when I wasn't speaking or, introducing anyone. I had brought in 2 keynote speakers who had never been to South Dakota before. So kind of felt like I should be there since I encouraged them to bring them in. But I'm happy that a lot of the national conferences are taking it seriously, and we got to do what we can to get out of this.
Absolutely. It was funny when I spoke at the North Dakota State Conference. There too, the masks are not mandated, right? But one of the comments was, and the vaccination numbers in North Dakota were kind of low. But they were commenting that the highest percentage of people that were vaccinated in the state were at that conference. All the HR people knew to be vaccinated.
Right.
And they were there.
I'm guessing that there was a high percentage of vaccinated folks at the South Dakota conference as well. We're doing what we can, trying to stay safe. And
yes,
but it was nice to be out and to see people again. And like I said, hopefully 2022, maybe we can all make a return to North Dakota. So we can put in the plug to the third part of John Cubed to John Friend to get us there.
Yes.
John, one of the things that we've started to do over the last year is crowdsource questions to help us out and take some of the burden of that away. In this case, Jules Breslin asks, describe yourself as a box of cereal.
Thanks, Jules. This is kind of half funny and half, I guess, kind of thoughtful. So as a kid, sugar cereal was kind of a treat. And so I usually, when we had it, I had it at night. I couldn't start my day with sugar cereal. It either had to be Cheerios or something like that, right? So it would be Count Chocula. And I think now I kind of resemble the Count a little bit. I think as I get older. There's that. Plus, I feel like, he emerges at the Halloween season, and this is the month.
Prime time for those monster cereals.
Yes, Blueberry and Frankenberry, yes. So I want to represent all those that are kind of, put back into a cabinet for 11 months after October.
Maybe that should be one of the prizes for our pledge drive is a box of Count Chocula signed by Mr. Baldino.
I'll be happy to.
I think we just need a wild array of weird prizes this time. We got to stick with a PBS pledge drive. I'm going down the road here.
Well, now they have that Monster Mash box too.
I saw that
with all the.
I was thinking about the HR Social Hour monogram like roach clips now because with the marijuana being no, they can't do those. No.
I don't think that's on. We don't ask what's in your bowl. Let's stick to what's in your glass. I think we'll stick to what's in your glass. I'll let you do the Humareso clips.
No, forget that.
I knew this was going to go off the rails a bit. John, it is now time for everyone's favorite part of our show, the half-hour question connection. And you get the shortened version because you did the long version before. What career did little Johnny dream of when he was a child?
It is a long list. I will tell you, overarching of everything was I wanted to be in entertainment. So I always knew that I wanted to act, I would sing. I didn't sing well. I acted better. But I went through doctor, architect, psychologist, teacher. Like I went through all those things, but there was always that back in my mind, entertainer of some sort.
John, who's one person you've gained your network in the last year that you think more people should know?
I'll say two quickly. Damona D, and I just met Dave Castle. Just two great people. Damona is fabulous. Love her.
John, how do you maintain balance? Besides moving to Florida.
I think that for me, I'm more thoughtful about integration than balance. And what I mean by that is I felt like at the times in my life when I tried to have balance, that became an additional stressor for me, that I didn't feel balanced. And when I started thinking about it as how do I incorporate these areas of my life that, we all know human resources, things happen at times of the day that are inconvenient. You cannot put everything into a box. And so how do I integrate who I am into the ways in which I get to express in my professional and personal life? And so I just make sure, though, that each day that I take the time, when the time is there, to step away. I exercise regularly. I read regularly. I pray regularly. I journal regularly. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that I have to do it at this time every day. I just let it happen as it needs to happen throughout the day.
John, what's a hobby or a thing you really like to do that would surprise people?
I feel like I'm such an open book. I don't know that there's anything that would surprise people. But I will tell you, most nights before I go to bed, I don't really watch television before I fall asleep. I'm not one of those people. But I play solitaire almost every night, which seems like such a kind of thing to do. But it just kind of settles me down, playing a little, and then I go to sleep.
My father-in-law used to do that.
That sounds like a very elderly father-in-law thing too. Thank you. Thanks, Wendy.
Do you play with actual cards, or do you play on your phone or a pen?
No, now I do it on I have a tablet. I do it on the tablet. I would do it with real cards, but it just got to be too difficult to clean up when I'd fall asleep, and then I'd have cards all on the sheets the next morning.
You picture you strewn out, all laid over.
Oh, that's awesome. That is just awesome. All right. Well, lastly, John, as you know, we're outsourcing some of our work here. If you could ask the next guest of the podcast any question, what would it be?
Yeah, I think mine's going to be more on a technical nature, and I would love to hear from the next person. How has their ideal candidate experience changed over the past 18 months? Because I'm sure, right, we couldn't do things the way that we did 2 years ago. So how have you redefined an ideal candidate experience?
It's now in the book.
Yes,
it will be asked very, very soon.
So let it be written. Let it be.
That's right.
Amen.
John, we can't thank you enough for being our friend, for doing this for 30 years. Congratulations there again. And for sponsoring this podcast. People like you have helped us so much along the way. And it's really exciting to see all the great things Humareso has going on. It's amazing. I think your organization has more previous guests than any other company or any other organization out there. I'm fairly certain. I probably run the numbers. It wouldn't be too hard to do, but we really do appreciate you being part of what we do. And I'm sure most of the listeners are connected with you, but if they are not, best way to reach you, Humareso, anything and everything you want them to know.
Well, thank you. And, I love you guys. So I'm thrilled that we can be supportive. Obviously, Humareso.com. You can connect with me there, online at Twitter at JBAlive. Obviously on LinkedIn, just look up John Baldino HR.
We will have all those in the show notes. And then Wendy, how about you? Best way for listeners to find you out there?
Best way is on my blog, mydailyjourney.com. And the second and fourth Sunday of each month, you can find me on Twitter, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as part of our twice monthly Twitter chat. How about you, John?
Well, this is usually where I thank the monthly sponsor. So thanks again to Humareso for sponsoring the show. Don't forget, this is going to be Pledge Month. # listen to HRSH. Share your favorite episodes, and you'll get a prize. I cannot guarantee it's going to be a Count Chocula box. I can't guarantee it's going to be a Lawrence Welk baton. We will figure out something. But as for me, johnthurman.com for all things John Thurman, and for the show, hrsocialrpodcast.podbean.com. Listen, rate, review, share, follow. Whatever platform you're on, hit that follow button. You'll get that new episode every week, and you can share it to everyone and anyone. International listeners, you know the routine. We'd love to talk to you. Get in touch with us because it's much easier for you to reach out to us than the other way around. All different ways to get in touch. Please do it. John, thanks again for being with us tonight. So for the HR Social Hour Half Hour Podcast, I'm John.
And I'm Wendy. And as always, be sure to connect,
give back, and network. Take care, everybody.
We'll see you soon.